The Times of Israel. I see it like Buddhism. Satanism is something that can coexist with being a Jew. In Haunted Salem, a Jewish church founder preaches the art of satanic social change at a former funeral home in a town inextricably linked to witchcraft. Secular Jew 𝗍𝗒𝗄𝗃 owns a new headquarters for his satanic temple, a controversial movement with up to 50,000 members worldwide. By Matt Lebovich, the 26th of October 2016, 4:36 p.m., Salem, Massachusetts. Just in time for Halloween, a controversial satanic temple has set up its international headquarters in Massachusetts' beloved Salem. Located 1 mile from historic sites tied to Salem's 1692 witchcraft hysteria, the building, a former funeral home, was inaugurated last month by activist 𝗍𝗒𝗄𝗃, a self-described secular Jew who co-founded the Satanic Temple in 2013. 𝗍𝗏 is a pseudonym, and he refuses to be photographed. The temple houses an art gallery in honor of Baphomet, a sabbatical goat representing the universe. Behind the 2-story building, an 8-foot-tall statue of Baphomet sits in a plain shed, where visitors can pay to view it. With up to 50,000 members in chapters around the world, the Satanic Temple has garnered colossal media attention in the last 3 years. Chief among Jerry's causes are marriage equality and women's reproductive freedom. Any issue related to the government using religion to restrict individual freedom is also likely to engage temple leaders, some of whom staged a 2014 Black Mass at Harvard University to push the envelope on religious freedom. Outside of New England, the Satanic Temple has taken legal action against the placement of edifices of the 10 Commandments in civic settings, including state houses. To illustrate how such displays violate religious freedom, the temple has insisted it be allowed to erect goat-headed Baphomet statues in the same locations. The Satanic Temple also planning to take on some schools' use of isolation, denial of bathroom access, and corporal punishment of children. For the 49-year-old 𝗍𝗏, there is not much conflict between being Jewish and a Satanist. As a matter of fact, the two identities have come to inform each other, he said. I see it like Buddhism, said 𝗍𝗏. Satanism is something that can coexist with being a Jew, he said. In addition to Jerry's belief that Judaism and Satanism can coexist, there are parallels with how Judaism and Satanism have been branded by their detractors, he said. The false accusations that have been thrown at Jews historically are similar to what some people say about Satanism, said 𝗍𝗏, mentioning accusations of blood libel and, more recently, fabricated allegations that Israel perpetrates genocide against Palestinian children. I do not accept when people delegitimize Israel or use lies to marginalize Israel, said 𝗍𝗏. I am an unwavering supporter of Israel, so long as it remains democratic, pluralistic, and protects human rights. Satanic panic. Satanists, for the record, do not believe that Satan exists. Derived from the Hebrew root for adversary, Satan is viewed as a symbol, not an idol or deity. The Church of Satan was founded by Jewish-born Anton LaVey in 1966. Known in his heyday as the Black Pope, LaVey seeded grotto churches around the country, and Hollywood figures including Sammy Davis Jr. joined the church. Davis had converted to Judaism in 1961. As the 𝗧𝗿𝗆𝗶𝗁𝗲 movement, LaVey adopted an inverted pentacle surrounded by the Hebrew letters for Leviathan, a sea monster featured in the Old Testament. From the center of the pentacle glares the half-human, half-animal Baphomet, both female and male, intending to symbolize the harmony of the universe. During the 1980s, satanic panic set in, and the church was accused of ritual abuse and criminal activity. LaVey was labeled a dangerous charlatan by critics, and many of his life stories were exposed as fraudulent after his 1997 death. Having once been called the world's most notorious religion, the church's last big hurrah was a satanic high mass held in Los Angeles on the 6th of the 6th, 06, for its 40th anniversary. Unlike the occultist 𝗧𝗆𝗏 and his Church of Satan, 𝗬𝗏𝗏 and his upstart Satanic movement do not associate with magic, he said. Like other religions and non-religions, Satanism has multiple offshoots, and, spoiler alert, Satanists are against submitting to centralized authority, which the pay-to-play cult of 𝗧𝗏𝗏 began to exemplify for some practitioners of so-called 𝗧𝗏𝗏𝗏 Satanism. In recent weeks, the Satanic Temple has been in the news for one member's attempts to deliver a Satanist invocation at Boston City Hall. The opportunity to open meetings with prayers is by invitation only, and only mainstream religions have ever been asked, said 𝗬𝗏𝗏𝗏. If the decision is that only we cannot deliver an invocation, then we will sue, and we will win, said the veteran contrarian. We expect to be treated in the same manner as all other religions, and will sue for all of the same rights, said 𝗬𝗏𝗏𝗏, adding that the Satanic Temple's campaigns are fueled by the importance of standing for freedom of expression and against tyrannical authority. According to Salem city officials, only a handful of citizens have expressed concern about the Satanic Temple's arrival in the bewitched seaport, one of New England's top tourist destinations. Among Salem's several thousand Jewish residents, those questioned by the Times of Israel had only positive things to say about their town's newest faith, or faithless-based neighbor. Honestly, for us, it is such a non-event, said 𝗧𝗆𝗶𝗁𝗆𝗆𝗏, a Salem resident for more than a decade. We live with so many different types of beliefs here, including a very large Wiccan community, that having a Satanic church open doesn't even register for me and other Salem Jews I have spoken with, said 𝗆𝗆𝗶𝗁𝗆𝗆𝗏, who directs marketing for interfaithfamily.com. As long as we can practice our Judaism freely, I have to extend those rights to them as well, she said. 𝗧𝗆𝗏𝗏 recalls, the whole thing was very much like the escapades in old movies, like The Woman on Pier 13. There were two main rendezvous spots in San Francisco, a Jewish community center, and a workers' collective downtown, where fellows would come in off the boat and went right down to meet contacts in the library of one of these places. I would be hired to play for a fashion show or variety show. Then I'd get through and go right down to the docks where crates of guns were being loaded onto ships to Israel. Many of the guns were ones that had been liberated during the war by American soldiers and were slated as deactivated war trophies. But before they had a chance to be officially deactivated, they were cosmolined up and sent to Israel. They'd wind up in a crate marked menorahs or something, mostly German MP40s and P38s, but even Japanese Nambus, anything they could get their hands on. Afterwards, I'd get letters of praise from the fashion show organizers, saying how much I'd added to their presentation. Little did they know what I'd been doing after their show. Those Zionist gunrunners could best be called ideological mercenaries. They had a sense of, well, what I'm doing may not make a hell of a lot of difference, but at least I'm doing what I know best. Many seemed more concerned about refining and perfecting innovative weapons technology they were experimenting with than who their new relay or explosive was blowing up, though. I met Zionists that were right out of European prisons, not Nazi concentration camps. Other prisons that had lines of bullet scars up the backs of their legs from machine gun fire. By that time, they were sort of ambivalent about the Nazis. Many of them had been decorated in World War I on the side of Germany, then fought in Spain against Germany, only to form dubious alliances with Nazis against the British in Palestine, then were fighting to affirm the new state of Israel. There was always a lot of that, more than people have, until recently, even wanted to hear. There's a book called Zionism in the Age of the Dictators that confirms many of my suspicions about exactly what was going on between Zionism and Nazi Germany. I felt a culmination of that whole episode in my life many years later, shortly after the Satanic Bible came out. I met with Asaf Danon, actor son of Israel's legendary defense minister Moshe Dayan, and he was glowing about the book, agreed with everything in it. He said it was exactly the philosophy they practiced, were forced to practice, in modern Israel. He extended an invitation for me to stay at his family home in Tel Aviv whenever I wished. Augusta Levy and her husband Joe, a liquor distributor, raised Tony as they would any other bright, even-tempered boy, attempting to instill useful middle-class values without pressing any particular religious dictates on him. By the time he was 7, he grew absorbed with tales of the supernatural and occult, which would obsess him for the rest of his life. Unable to fully understand what he read, because of his young age, he consulted his maternal grandmother, Lubok Alton, born 𝗧𝗍𝗶𝗁𝗍𝗶𝗃, from a gypsy father and a Jewish mother, who regaled Tony with the mysteries of her Transylvanian homeland, superstitions passed from generation to generation, and incorporated in the greatest vampire legend of all, Dracula. Some people that come from Jewish backgrounds, where Judaic traditions were really emphasized in the home, are the most rabid anti-Semitic people I know, and I don't blame them. If they grew up in a stifling environment with professional Jews for parents or professional Catholics, I don't blame them for running away, changing their names, completely inverting their lives, and never wanting to see their parents again. That's often how leaders are born.